Shortly after this, though, Ingo went to L.A. to visit his friend Conrad. While shopping for dinner he and Conrad were going to make for two of their mutual friends, Ingo went into the veggie section to buy some, well, vegetables.
Sure.
At one of the artichoke tables, he saw a beautiful woman. She was dressed in a small outfit that really accentuated her physical endowments.
She was...
Oh.
She was number 13.
She was gorgeous. Number four. If you're listening, you get it. He worked his way covertly and nonchalantly closer to her as he was fumbling with some artichokes in a bag. As he was fumbling some artichokes into a bag, he then, for no reason at all, experienced an electrifying wave of goosebumps throughout his whole body, and his hair stood on end. Suddenly,
came in his pants.
It was hard. Extremely hard. Suddenly, and for no reason, he knew right then and there she was an ET.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He got nervous and decided he was going to back off and started examining the grapefruit and oranges over in the fruit section. When he turned around to do so, though, he saw that one of the twins, down further, watching this woman, there immediately aroused an image in his mind of a white card that said, "Please do not speak and please act normal." Apparently they're psychic too, I guess. I don't know.
That's kind of dope.
The other twin was there too on the other side of the veggie table, also watching the woman.
Yeah.
At this point, he realized he was somewhere he shouldn't be and made a hasty exit.
Yep.
The twins' presence mixed with a psychic alert confirmed to him that the woman was indeed an extraterrestrial. He and his friend finished shopping and checked out. While in the car before leaving, Ingo asked his friend, Conrad, to wait, and when the woman exited the store to go load up her car, he asked his friend what he thought of her. Conrad's response was, "Well, if you mean, do I think she's an extraterrestrial? Yes, we have a lot of them here in La La Land." All right. He then urged Conrad to make a quick and hasty exit. Fast forward a little bit, and shortly after returning home to New York, Ingo received a call he was expecting to get from Axelrod.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the twins, you know Axelrod's not far behind.
Sure.
A friendly female voice came over the phone again and asked, "Mr. Swann, a friend of yours would like to talk to you. They said he wanted to talk to him in another telephone, and asked if he could and asked if it was convenient for him to go to Grand Central Terminal at 7:30 that night." Ingo said, "I suppose so." She told him to go there and wait until he saw someone he recognized, and then she hung up. He waited for about 10 to 15 minutes until he finally saw... He went to Grand Central Station around 7:30. He waited there for about 10 to 15 minutes until he finally saw someone he recognized standing about 10 feet away. It was, of course, one of the twins, dressed like he was a homeless man. Makes sense. There's a lot of them there.
Yeah.
Seeing that Ingo finally recognized Seeing that Ingo finally recognized him, he put his finger to his lips and surveyed the area for a time. He finally gave a slight nod of the head and headed towards the arcade. Ingo followed him through a subway entrance and was down. That was down a corridor. The twin went into one of the old phone booths for a time, closed the door, and dialed the number. Then put the phone down on a small counter and moved away. Hingo, as my autocorrect has, Ingo went over, assuming that it was meant for him to go over and pick up the phone, and he picked up the phone. The same female voice was there on the other end, and after asking him some questions to confirm that it was him, she put Axelrod on the phone. Axelrod told him Axelrod told him not to say anything except answering the questions that he asked. He asked why he was in the grocery store at La La Land. Have you ever seen that woman or seen her since? Why were you there looking at the woman? And this one I wrote the response to.
Yeah.
He said, for Christ's sake, she was extremely sexy and nearly falling out of her clothes. I saw her from the rear and wanted to get a to see what the front looked like up close. It's a good example.
Amen, brother.
Give me some fish. Well, that's not weird. And he asked what Ingo thought of her. To which he responded that he got the impression that she wasn't exactly like us and was an extraterrestrial. Then Axelrod did the 21 questions to him about the woman, and once satisfied with his answers, he said she was very dangerous, and if we ever saw her again, make an effort to create distance between her and do it naturally. Mm-hmm. That was the end of the woman. So he then asked how the remote viewing at SRI was coming along. Ingo said good, and that he was almost at 65% accuracy, which is incredible in my opinion. Mm-hmm. To which Axelrod responded with, "We have a special task. Can you let us know when you hit the 65% mark? You have an office with a desk, right? When you reach 65, take an ordinary piece of paper, 8 by 10, write 65 down on it and put it beneath the blotter." He said yes. Ingo said yes, and he understood what was being asked of him. Mm-hmm. Now we get to the final encounter with Ingo. Mm-hmm. A year later, Ingo reached the 65 milestone and left that note under the ink blotter in his office. Yeah. The door to his office was locked, and only he knew the code to the door. Mm-hmm. But one morning, after 3 months of checking, the note was suddenly gone, and in its place was some dust with the words "expect contact." Oof. And in July of 1977, a few days after that message in the dust, contact, well, it did done come. While in the dining room of SRI.
I'm sorry. So I just imagine, because the twins keep popping up, and it seems like they're the guys that go the henchmen guys. So I just imagine he's going through the SRI campus lunchroom, and he looks up, and one of the twins is just sitting there in a wig and a lunch lady uniform. Caddies. Just is scooping out the corn, looking at him.
Yeah. And there's beautiful green eyes.
Yes.
Beautiful green eyes. Sorry. Don't be. So, funny you said the dining hall. When walking in, oh no, that's because I said the dining hall. You fucking idiot.
It's like cafeteria.
Yeah. Yeah. When walking into the dining hall, he noticed Mr. Axelrod standing inconspicuously over the other end of it.
Yeah.
I gotta just highlight this so I know where the fuck I am. When he noticed Ingo saw him, he walked quickly into the men's room. Gets better.
Oh.
So, Ingo excused himself from his colleagues, and he joined Axelrod in the men's room.
Oh, boy. Excuse me, guys. I gotta take a shit real quick.
Yeah. Time out. Once entered, Axelrod immediately locked the door and whispered in Ingo's ear, "Can you get away right now for the weekend? I want to take you somewhere and show you something. Just nod yes or no."
Was it that sexual, though?
It probably wasn't, but I gave it that sexual.
Jesus. It's uncomfortable.
I mean, you're locking the door and whispering in his ear in the fucking bathroom.
Why couldn't you have done any of this over the phone there, guys?
Right? Jesus.
Or in a janitor's closet.
Well, Ingo nodded yes. They left immediately, telling Ingo to come up with... Axelrod left immediately after, telling Ingo to come up with a convincing excuse to his colleagues, and that he might be gone for as much as 4 days. Mm-hmm. Ingo used the excuse of just remembering he was supposed to join some friends in San Francisco for a long weekend, and then he just left.
All right.
So, what the fuck? Where'd that come from? Did you just come from the bathroom? What happened here? And who was that man that left with you? While driving away, Axelrod asked Ingo if he had ever seen an UFO, which Ingo said yes, he thinks so. And Axelrod asked him to describe it as they did. So Axelrod, again, read the book Penetration for the whole description of his sighting and everything. But I don't want to waste time on that, so let's move. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to transition off that. I just wanted to plug the book for the 15th time.
Beautiful.
Axelrod then told him that they may have an opportunity to see one up close, and asked him if he was game. Ingo said, "Of course I'm fucking game." And they headed off on their long journey. They went from a car to a private plane where they met up with the twins.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took a 5-hour flight somewhere. And then another car where he had to strip down and put a fully insulated jumpsuit on and take off. Make sure there's no metal.
Yep.
No metals were allowed
Yep.
on his person, as I said. They then drove another 2 hours, and finally they had to hike up to a location that was about 45 minutes in complete and total silence. Could not speak, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
After this 45-minute hike, they arrived at their destination. Once there, they sat on a thick cushion of pine needles behind some large rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Axelrod whispered. He's a whisperer, this one. We're here. In front of us, there's a small lake. When dawn comes, you'll be able to see it through the pines. We now wait and hope we are lucky. Say nothing and do not make any noise. Ingo whispered back. What am I supposed to do? Axelrod responded. Just observe. We'll debrief later. But it's really important now to just observe in complete silence. From this point on, and don't move unless I tell you to, they detect heat, noise, and motion like mad. Sounds good to me. I will just shut the fuck up then, and we'll just sit here.
Guess just shut the fuck up.
They sat for a while waiting, and suddenly one of the twins made some hand gesture to Axelrod, and Axelrod stated that it had begun, and do not move.
Mm-hmm.
Ingo looked around, trying to see what the fuck had begun, but didn't see anything unusual at all, except for some gray fog forming in the direction of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Lake is created. A lot of times there's fog associated with UFOs. So maybe that's their cloaking device. But anyways, the fog continued to form for another 5 minutes, and suddenly Ingo saw what had begun to happen.
Mm-hmm.
In mere moments, the gray fog began to change, first to a neon blue, then into purple. At this moment, Axelrod and one of the twins put a firm hand on each one of his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, purple, yellow, red lightning bolts shot out in every direction through the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
It startled him, and if it wasn't for them putting a hand on his shoulders, he would have probably jumped up, and then he would have moved, and then...
Yeah, fucked the whole thing up.
Motherfucker. Then there it was, rising over the now visible lake, and it continued to get bigger and bigger and bigger.